Unexpectedly, one day we would divorce. In the familiar living room, everything seemed to remain in the same place as in the previous months. The only difference was the heavy, suffocating silence in the air. Giang Mat, with her familiar cold demeanor, sat across from Pho Trach Nguyen, the man to whom she had once given her whole heart and youth. He looked visibly thinner, his eyes sunken, filled with pain and despair. Pho Trach Nguyen clasped his hands in a pleading gesture, his voice hoarse. I don't want a divorce, Giang Mat. No, I was wrong. Can you give me another chance? I realize I still love you. Giang Mat looked at him, a faint smile blooming on her lips. That smile carried no warmth or affection, only a gentle mockery. Many people love me. Pho Trach Nguyen, stop acting like a child. Face reality. It's better for both of us. She knew very well that he was here today to make peace, just as he understood what it meant that she had started dating another man. Reason is reason, and feelings are feelings. Pho Trach Nguyen had sat alone in a hotel for a week to think. But no matter how much he pondered, he couldn't understand how she could be so cold, silently aborting their child. Then, less than a week later, she was dating Mac Van Thong. She even let another man wrap his arms around her in front of everyone at a class reunion. Giang Mat, did you never love me? Did you marry me just because you were used to having me around? Seeing Giang Mat silent, Pho Trach Nguyen suddenly laughed bitterly, burying his face in his trembling hands. I really don't understand. Just 1 month. Just 1 month. You can forget all the good I've done for you over 10 years, leaving me no dignity at all. Giang Mat, how could you become someone like this? Was those 10 years just a joke to you? No, those 10 years were not a joke. I have never regretted marrying you. Giang Mat stood up, walked over, gently squatting in front of him, looking up, her eyes hiding a hint of mockery, softly removing his hand from his tear-streaked face. Looking straight into his eyes, she smiled sweetly. Pho Trach Nguyen, does what I say make you feel any better? Don't cry anymore. It's just a divorce. What's the big deal? You still have your career, loving parents. Oh, and there's that woman out there who's always waiting for you. Actually, you're quite capable. Her words were as soft as silk, but pierced like daggers to the heart. Knowing Giang Mat said this only to make it easier for him to sign the divorce papers, Pho Trach Nguyen was stunned, frozen in place. Giang Mat, do you hate me that much? Don't say nonsense. You're not even worthy of my hatred. You're not even worthy of my hatred. No longer love, nor hatred. Pho Trach Nguyen was just a passing cloud to her. Just then his phone rang, the screen displaying the name, Hua Tuesday. Giang Mat stood up, intending to leave him some space, but he held her hand back and then knelt down on the floor. He answered the call. On the other end was the continuous crying of Hua Tu. She begged him to come to school, saying if he didn't come, she would jump from the highest floor of the lecture hall. In response to that threat, Pho Trach Nguyen calmly replied, I've gone back to my wife. I've gone back to my wife. If you want to die, that's your business. With that, he hung up, wrapping his arms tightly around Giang Mat from behind. Before long, she felt her shirt soaked with his hot tears. Giang Mat, I've loved you since we were kids. I've loved you for 20 whole years. You will never understand how much it hurts to know our daughter is gone. Holding 2 faded marriage certificates in my hands, even the staff sincerely advised us not to rush into a divorce. You can't just say I don't need you and truly throw me away like that. Giang Mat turned around, kicked him to the floor. She stepped on his chest, her toes spinning around. Smiling as if it were nothing, she gently pronounced his death sentence. My brother has more than just you. If you're not strong enough, don't blame anyone else. Giang Mat's gaze was icy, unwavering. 10 years of marriage, which seemed like a peaceful harbor, turned out to be a slow, painful struggle. She had tried to nurture it, tried to endure, but in the end, all she received was betrayal and deep emotional wounds. She had given him countless chances, but he had squandered them. Now, it was time for her to free herself. The next day, Pho Trach Nguyen did not show up at the Civil Affairs Bureau. That night, he went out drinking to drown his sorrows, then got into a fight with thugs at a bar, sustaining injuries that required hospitalization. His mother personally came to her house, begging her to visit him in the hospital. He was now in an intensive care unit, completely lost the will to live. Giang Mat did not go. A week later, during a gathering with her girlfriends in Lucam, she heard that Pho Trach Nguyen had become a vegetable. Seeing that she showed no signs of sorrow, Lucam happily continued to share the aftermath of Hua Tu's suicide attempt. That little mistress refused to let the firefighters help, and as a result, she slipped and fell from the rooftop. Luckily, she landed on a stair beam, so she didn't die, but from now on, she can only sit in a wheelchair. Oh, that's terrible. Seeing Giang Mat scrolling through her phone with an indifferent reaction, not caring at all about anyone's life or death, Lucam curiously leaned over to see the screen and clicked her tongue a few times. Tisk tsk. Lai Tin Viet. This quiet name turns out to be a direct attack. Huh? So, have you agreed to be his girlfriend? Nonsense. My husband is still in the hospital. I'm busy fighting for my share of the assets after the divorce. Where would I find time for romance? Ha ha. You really have a sharp tongue, Mat. Your husband is about to kick the bucket, and you still want to squeeze out every penny you can. Complimented by her best friend for being cruel yet cool. Giang Mat put her phone down, gently savoring a sip of chestnut-flavored Starbucks. Looking up, she squinted at the sky. The weather is really beautiful today. The sky was clear, without a cloud in sight. Though there might occasionally be clouds, They could never obscure the sunlight that always shone above. Becoming the sun of her own life, though her heart had been hurt, there would come a day when it would heal. Giang Mat had decided she would no longer let the past hold her back. She would live a new life, free and happy, just as she should have done long ago. The past was behind her, and the future lay ahead. Giang Mat had decided she would no longer let the past hold her back. She would live a new life, free and happy, just as she should have done long ago. The past was behind her, and the future lay ahead. And Giang Mat would never look back. Chapter 1. Unexpectedly. One day we would divorce. The perfect husband loved me for 10 years, gifting me jewelry worth millions. He said, Giang Mat, let's get a divorce. I want to give her a proper status. The next morning, we went to the Civil Affairs Bureau. That night, Pho Trach Nguyen didn't come home. He booked the entire restaurant I loved, celebrating his escape from the sea of suffering with his little mistress. At the same time, my phone kept ringing. Let's meet Giang Mat right now. Mat, I've never forgotten you. Younger sister, I'm waiting for you at our usual spot. The wind was strong as Pho Trach Nguyen and I entered the Civil Affairs Bureau. Seeing my messy hair, he gently tucked it behind my ear. The staff, witnessing this scene, proactively fetched the marriage registration form for us. Sorry, we're here to get a divorce. Hearing my words clearly, the staff exchanged puzzled glances. At the divorce counter, the official asked for the husband's reason. Pho Trach Nguyen remained silent, and I answered for him. Incompatible personalities, emotional rift. Anyone could tell it was just a polite facade. The real reason was, Pho Trach Nguyen had a little girlfriend who made him willing to give up everything. She was an intern at his company. He drove her to work, took care of her when she was sick, and amidst the gazes at school competitions, he gifted her 99 champagne roses. He transformed into her guardian. As for me, my reason was much simpler. I never used second-hand items. Looking at the two faded marriage certificates, the staff sincerely advised us not to act impulsively. I'm very busy. Please process this quickly. The indifferent tone of the handsome man expedited the process significantly. An hour later, Pho Trach Nguyen and I received a confirmation of our divorce, pending a reconsideration period. He gently pressed his thin lips together. Giang Mat, where are you planning to go later? I'll drive you. Not giving me a chance to refuse, he quickly went to the parking lot and drove straight in front of me. I raised my hand to open the passenger door, but suddenly remembered we were no longer husband and wife. In the end, under his confused yet sad gaze, I calmly sat in the back seat. The black car quietly blended into the flow of traffic. Even sitting in the back, I could still sense his good mood. I spoke up, asking him to raise the air conditioning a bit. It was too cold, causing my nose to run, making me sniffle continuously. He remained silent, handing me half a pack of tissues. Even sitting in the back, I could still sense his good mood. I spoke up, asking him to raise the air conditioning a bit. It was too cold, causing my nose to run, making me sniffle continuously. He remained silent, handing me half a pack of tissues. We were childhood friends, married for 10 years. He knew very well that I wasn't actually suffering from a cold. Giang Mat, regarding our divorce, let me talk to your parents. Pho Trach Nguyen was still the same, always wanting to take all the responsibility. In fact, he wasn't like that when he was younger. As a child, Pho Trach Nguyen was as thin as a stick, quiet and shy. In kindergarten, he was often bullied by mischievous boys, his clothes dirty and messy. At that time, I, a girl who looked gentle but was actually the schoolyard boss, would step up to the microphone and declare to the entire kindergarten, Pho Trach Nguyen is my little brother. From then on, that shy boy gradually became the school idol admired by many girls. Back then, I saw Pho Trach Nguyen as a good brother, while he used the excuse of urgent math tutoring to stick to me every day, insisting that I apply to the same university as him. Eventually, we both got accepted into the same school. Pho Trach Nguyen became my guardian against love. With him by my side, no matter how beautiful or famous I was, not a sing. Eventually, we both got accepted into the same school. Pho Trach Nguyen became my guardian against love. With him by my side, no matter how beautiful or famous I was, not a single boy dared to approach me during my 4 years of college. On graduation day, Pho Trach Nguyen took me to the school's astronomer's house. He turned off all the lights in the building, illuminating a brilliant starry sky I had never seen before. He held my hand, his palms sweaty. Mat, will you marry me? I swear I will treat you well for the rest of my life. At that moment, I agreed without hesitation. But today, faced with Pho Trach Nguyen's fake pity, I didn't need to think. I bluntly refused. Mr. Pho, you don't need to worry about my matters. I know how to handle them myself. My polite yet cold tone made Pho Trach Nguyen frown involuntarily. After a moment of silence, he half smiled and asked how I planned to explain the divorce to my parents. Seeing that I didn't say anything, he laughed coldly. Giang Mat, don't tell me you're having second thoughts. Feeling his gaze, I finally put my phone down, giving him a glance as if bestowing. Okay, whatever you say is right. In short, just focus on driving. Don't get distracted. I didn't want to return to single life on the very first day and end up dying in a car accident with my ex-husband on the road. Hearing the casualness in my voice, Pho Trach Nguyen's grip on the steering wheel tightened. The car's Bluetooth connected, and a sweet love song that young girls often like played. Right in front of me, Pho Trach Nguyen, answer the call. A young girl's extremely gentle voice filled the car. A young girl's extremely gentle voice filled the car. The girl was whining, saying she had been studying for several classes and was starving. Pho Trach Nguyen glanced at me, saw my expression remained unchanged, and smiled gently at her over the phone. I know my little cat is hungry. I'll go buy you some porridge right now. I know my little cat is hungry. I'll go buy you some porridge right now. The call ended, and before he could speak, I proactively pointed toward the intersection. Just drop me off at the next turn. The black car pulled over. As soon as I stepped out, Pho Trach Nguyen hurriedly drove away. Watching the car gradually disappear around the corner, I, drenched in cold sweat, finally couldn't hold back the cramp in my right leg and collapsed onto the sidewalk. 2 months ago, Pho Trach Nguyen called, saying he had forgotten important documents. I took the documents and drove to his company. On the way, a truck overloaded with cargo tipped over while taking a sharp turn, crushing my car. Although I survived, my right leg faced the risk of amputation due to blood loss and prolonged pressure. That day, I panicked, crying and calling Pho Trach Nguyen countless times. His phone was always off. Later, I learned it was because that intern casually said, "I've never seen a pigeon before." Pho Trach Nguyen immediately booked a flight to Prague, taking her out for a week. Not wanting my parents to worry, my best friend Lou Cam stayed by my side during the surgery. Thanks to the doctor's efforts, my leg was ultimately saved. As for the man who was completely useless during that life and death moment, I didn't need him anymore. Returning home alone, I cooked a simple meal. Just as I finished eating leisurely, I received an angry message from Lou Cam. Mat, you and Pho Trach Nguyen haven't officially divorced yet, and he's already taken the other woman out to celebrate publicly. She sent a photo of Pho Trach Nguyen having a sweet dinner with a young girl. I recognized that restaurant immediately. It was the place where we celebrated our wedding anniversary every year. Suddenly, a wave of nausea surged within me. My phone rang, but I didn't bother to answer. I rushed to the bathroom and vomited 2 or 3 times before feeling a bit better. In that hazy moment, I remembered something. The next morning, I went to the hospital. After reviewing the blood test results, the doctor smiled and said to me, "Congratulations, Miss Giang Mat. You're 3 months pregnant." I was silent for a moment, then quietly said, "Please schedule a surgery for me." In the first 3 years of our marriage, Pho Trach Nguyen and I were inseparable. He always hoped for a child of our own. Yet, despite both of us having no health issues, we never received good news. Now that we finally had it, everything had changed. I couldn't keep this baby. As soon as I stepped out of the examination room, I saw Pho Trach Nguyen standing at the door with his little girlfriend, Su Cc. My hand holding the shopping bag instinctively tightened. As soon as she saw me, Hua Tutu's first reaction was to panic and immediately cling to Pho Trach Nguyen. His expression was filled with distress as he frowned and questioned, "What are you doing here?" Before I could think of a lie, he coldly continued, "Giang Mat, we should part ways amicably. Tutu has a heart condition. Following me like this will only scare her." Hearing this, I finally understood. He misunderstood that I was stalking him. To avoid trouble, I didn't explain anything, just offered a weak smile. "Sorry, I'll leave right away." I had barely taken 2 steps when someone called my name from behind. A handsome man in a white coat quickly approached me, making Pho Trach Nguyen's gaze even colder. "Trin Vu, what are you doing here?" Pho Trach Nguyen frowned. Trin Vu was not only my doctor for my leg treatment, but also a high school classmate of both me and Pho Trach Nguyen. He completely ignored Pho Trach Nguyen's displeasure and walked straight up to me, inquiring about my leg recovery. "Thanks to you, I can almost walk normally now." I was about to ask him when Pho Trach Nguyen interrupted. "What recovery? Isn't your leg just a minor scrape?" He only knew I had an accident, but had no idea of the severity. In fact, if he had cared even a little about how I walked, he would have realized how much I had suffered during my recovery. Unfortunately, he was too busy working, trying to steal every free moment to secretly date Hua Tutu. He had no mind left to pay attention to me. "My leg is none of your business," I said indifferently. "Don't forget, we're divorced." Upon hearing this, Pho Trach Nguyen's face immediately darkened. Just then, Hua Tutu suddenly knelt in front of me. She cried like a flower in the rain, making me look like a demon incarnate. "Sister Giang Mat, I've always wanted to apologize to you. I once advised Trach Nguyen to cherish you. Everything that has happened is my fault. You can hit or scold me however you want." Facing Hua Tutu's fake repentance, I calmly replied, "First, I'm not your sister. Second, this isn't a stage. No matter how well you act, I won't applaud." Seeing that I was completely unfazed as she had hoped, Hua Tutu stiffened, clutching her chest, her eyes filled with grievance as she looked at Pho Trach Nguyen. He gazed at her with pity, bent down to help her up, wiping her tears while giving me a cold glare. "Giang Mat, there are 29 days left to reconsider the divorce. You know my temperament. Don't cause trouble. If it comes to a confrontation, you'll be the one embarrassed." Pho Trach Nguyen led Hua Tutu away. Trin Vu, disregarding the scrutinizing looks around, sat down next to me. "Giang Mat, are you okay?" Facing everything alone wasn't a big deal. However, just receiving a bit of concern from someone else made my eyes suddenly well up. I tiredly looked at Trin Vu. "Can I ask you for a favor?" Without needing me to specify what it was, he immediately nodded without hesitation. The next day, with Trin Vu's help, I successfully underwent surgery. As I was wheeled out of the operating room, I caught a glimpse of a familiar woman's figure passing by, but I was too weak to think further and fell into a semi-conscious state. After the surgery, Pho Trach Nguyen didn't receive any calls from me. Just as I had clung to him before, now I was silent to the same extent. A week later, reeking of alcohol, Pho Trach Nguyen brought Hua Tutu home. He took her into my dressing room, intending to flirt and kiss her, only to find me changing clothes. "You're back just in time," I said, pushing a lock of freshly curled black hair behind my shoulder, revealing my smooth, fair back. "Could one of you help me zip up my dress?" The atmosphere froze for a few seconds. Pho Trach Nguyen reflexively released Hua Tutu and, as usual, stepped forward to zip up my dress. Receiving my gentle thanks mixed with a hint of a smile, he immediately turned to Hua Tutu and said softly, "Tutu, I'm thirsty. Could you give me a glass of water?" Hua Tutu shot me a resentful glance before obediently leaving. Bright eyes, fair skin, alluring red lips. Tu shot me a resentful glance before obediently leaving. Bright eyes, fair skin, alluring red lips. While I was putting on earrings, the man behind me suddenly moved closer. His hands wrapped around me, gently yet firmly, pressing me into the space between the vanity and his body. "Giang Mat, wearing this at night. Don't tell me you're planning to meet Trinvu?" So it turns out he has a taste for wearing my old shoes. Old shoes. I looked at my reflection in the mirror, wearing an expensive, stylish short dress. For the first time, I doubted Pho Trach Nguyen's taste. I pushed him away, but he didn't budge. I asked if you're planning to meet Trinvu. Pho Trach Nguyen's expression seemed to soften a bit. Hearing Hua Tutu's footsteps approaching, he voluntarily released me. I couldn't help but chuckle softly. Wasn't this just like sneaking around in an affair? "Sister Giang Mat, you look really beautiful. Could it be you have a date? I didn't expect you to be so quick." Hua Tutu feigned hesitation. Pho Trach Nguyen gritted his teeth, seemingly about to say something more. Fortunately, my phone rang at the right moment. I smiled as I answered, stepping out the door while talking. Watching my relaxed figure, Pho Trach Nguyen followed with a cold expression. He saw me get into a silver car, leaving without looking back. That night, I didn't go home. It wasn't until noon the next day that I walked in humming. As soon as I entered, I was startled by the figure sitting on the sofa. It was Pho Trach Nguyen. He hadn't slept all night, his white shirt wrinkled and disheveled. His deep-set eyes were filled with resentment as he gritted his teeth and said, "Giang Mat, I know what kind of good deed you've been up to." His voice was so hoarse that not only was I taken aback, but he was too. "I've done a lot of good deeds. Which one are you referring to?" I said while yawning, making Pho Trach Nguyen's expression grow increasingly grim. "Who did you meet last night?" His tone was like an interrogation, making me extremely uncomfortable. I tried to suppress my eye roll and replied coldly, "It's none of your business." Just as I was about to ignore him and head back to my bedroom, Pho Trach Nguyen coldly called me back. "Giang Mat, this is the last time I'm warning you. Don't let your friends disturb Tutu anymore." My patience has its limits. Upon hearing that, I immediately understood what he was referring to. Liu Cam had collaborated with Pho Trach Nguyen's company. The other day, out of anger for me, she had scolded Hua Tutu harshly in front of many employees, causing her to run out of the company in tears, almost getting hit by a car. Regarding this matter, I had only one comment. "It's perfectly normal for a mistress to be scolded in public, isn't it?" I chuckled lightly, watching Pho Trach Nguyen's face darken like the bottom of a pot, then leisurely continued. "Not just you. I also have my limits. This apartment is a premarital asset you gave me. I'll call someone to change the locks at 3 this afternoon. You'd better hurry and move all your things out. Don't let me see your face again." After saying that, I turned and walked straight to my room, slamming the door. When I went out to get some water because I was thirsty, Pho Trach Nguyen had already stormed out with his things in a huff. The next day, Liu Cam excitedly announced, next weekend, there would be a reunion for our university class after many years apart. Initially, I didn't plan to go, but under her firm assurance that Pho Trach Nguyen definitely won't be there, I finally nodded to participate. Ironically, on the day of the reunion, as soon as I stepped into the banquet hall, I ran into Pho Trach Nguyen and Hua Tutu. Back then, he and I were the perfect couple known throughout the school. We had a grand wedding right after graduation, and everyone knew. Now, in front of numerous teachers and old classmates, he let Hua Tutu link arms with him, chatting and laughing animatedly with the professors who once taught us. It was clear he was publicly declaring he and I were no longer the perfect couple that everyone admired years ago. Hua Tutu occasionally shot me provocative glances, her smug demeanor making it hard not to laugh. Seeing this, several of the girls from back then who had never liked me deliberately approached, pretending to empathize but with a tone full of sarcasm. "I can't believe Pho Trach Nguyen is treating you like this. Back then, he was crazy in love with you. It made us all so envious." "That's right, Giang Mat. You gave him your whole youth, and now he doesn't give you any respect at all." As they took turns comforting me with their veiled jabs, Mac Van Thong, who had arrived late, finally appeared beside me. He had once been the school's heartthrob, and now standing amidst the crowd, he gently wrapped his arm around my shoulders and said softly, "I'm sorry, Mat. I got stuck in traffic and arrived late despite trying to rush." "I'm sorry, Mat. I got stuck in traffic and arrived late despite trying to rush. It's okay. I just got here not long ago." As a prominent figure from the past, the moment Mac Van Thong showed up, the entire banquet turned their gaze toward us. "Oh, Mac. "Are you and Giang Mat dating?" someone loudly teased, causing Mak Van Thong and me to exchange shy glances and smile bashfully as we looked down. Chapter 3. Unexpectedly. One day we would divorce. I hadn't even had the chance to explain that we had only been on a few dates and were still in the getting to know each other phase when someone slapped Mak Van Thong hard on the shoulder. Before he could turn around, he was struck with a blow that nearly knocked him to the floor. The crowd scattered in panic, and someone shouted, "Pho Trach Nguyen, what are you doing?" His eyes, dark as ink, and the veins in his neck bulging. I had never seen him so furious that he lost control. While pointing and cursing at Mak Van Thong, his gaze remained locked on me. "Giang Mat is my wife. You bastard. How dare you put your filthy hands on her waist, right in front of me? You son of a bitch." Pho Trach Nguyen grabbed Mak Van Thong by the collar, who was still in shock, and raised his fist again in anger. But this time, I quickly stepped between them, my gaze as cold as ice. "Are you out of your mind, Pho Trach Nguyen? Who is your wife?" My gaze as cold as ice. "Are you out of your mind, Pho Trach Nguyen? Who is your wife? We are already divorced." He was the one who wanted the divorce. He was the one who told me not to disturb him, not to bother him. He was the one who took his mistress to eat at the restaurant filled with our beautiful memories. Him too. And now, he acted as if he had lost his mind, trying to control my relationship as if he had never done anything wrong. For a moment, I genuinely wanted to pry open Pho Trach Nguyen's head to see what disgusting thing was inside that made him lose all sense of decency. "Giang Mat, are you scolding me for an outsider?" Pho Trach Nguyen pointed at himself, his face full of disbelief, laughing mockingly. "Have you forgotten? We are not officially divorced yet. At this moment, you are still my legal wife. I'll ask again, where did I go wrong in hitting him? Damn this so-called consideration period before divorce." I frowned, impatiently about to retort when, from behind, Hua Tutu quickly stepped in, tears welling in her eyes as she said to Pho Trach Nguyen, "Brother Trach Nguyen, there's something I didn't intend to say because I was afraid it would hurt you. But today, seeing Sister Giang Mat disregard you for another man, I can't hide it anymore." In front of Pho Trach Nguyen and everyone present, Hua Tutu calmly recounted how I had undergone an abortion under the care of Dr. Trin Vu. In her tearful narrative, spiced with her own embellishments, I became a shameless, cold woman, cheating with multiple men while still married, unaware of what shame was. She even hinted to Pho Trach Nguyen that I had secretly been involved with Trin Vu even before going to the Civil Affairs Bureau with him. Otherwise, how could I have so easily agreed to the divorce? Men, when they're angry, just a little fuel on the fire can easily make them lose control. I wasn't surprised to see Pho Trach Nguyen's face turn red, gritting his teeth, hoarsely asking me, "Did you really have an abortion? Was that baby mine?" 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Pho Trach Nguyen had never felt as acutely as he did now what it meant for every second to pass like a year. The normal atmosphere now felt toxic, making it hard for him to breathe, painful as if his insides were weighed down with lead, unbearable. I didn't blink, just silently looked at him. I witnessed the change in his eyes, from anger to panic, then shifting to pain deep in his heart. "Giang Mat, say something. I don't trust anyone. I only trust you. I want to hear it from your own mouth. Did you really abort the child we've been waiting for all these 10 years? The man who was always proud and arrogant now bowed his head, his gaze pleading like a drowning man clinging to the last ray of hope, to the point that even Liu Cam, who usually scolded him for being worthless and wished for his early demise, couldn't bear it, turning away and secretly wiping her eyes. Unfortunately, the truth is always the harshest. I slightly curled my lips without a hint of remorse, coldly telling Pho Trach Nguyen, "Your tutu isn't mistaken. I did go to the hospital for the procedure." "Pho Trach Nguyen, guess what? I asked the doctor. They said it was a baby girl." In the past, Pho Trach Nguyen often talked to my flat stomach, even when there was no sign of life, whispering silly yet loving words. "Little Rose, don't play hide and seek with your parents anymore. To welcome you, Daddy has already prepared a room for his little princess. My princess, hurry to your mother. You will definitely be the happiest little girl in the world." When I mentioned baby girl, Pho Trach Nguyen's eyes immediately went blank, and he staggered back a few steps. Hua Tutu tried to support him, but he violently pushed her away, causing her to fall flat on the ground. Before she could get up, I stepped forward, raised my hand from above, and slapped her hard across the face. She was stunned, staring at me in disbelief, unable to hide her true nature, and shrieked, "Giang Mat, how dare you hit me?" Hearing this, I delivered another slap, even stronger and more decisive. "You're putting on a show in front of me, fabricating stories, using all your despicable tricks. Wasn't it all to provoke me into reacting like this? I just gave you what you wanted, so why act pitiful as if you were the victim?" Exposed in front of the crowd, Hua Tutu thought she could still save face, but she could only quietly return to Pho Trach Nguyen's side, clutching his arm, covering her swollen face, and sobbing uncontrollably. "Brother Trach Nguyen, it's my fault for being talkative. It's only right that she hit me. I'm sorry, but when people reach the peak of being speechless, the only reaction left is to laugh." Not just me, but most of the women present couldn't help but find Hua Tutu's clumsy and pathetic performance amusing. The sisters couldn't hold back and spoke up for me. "Pho Trach Nguyen, What is your little green tea doing? Who doesn't know Giang Mat's character here? If she were the type to be promiscuous, why would she cling to a crooked tree like you after so many suitors back in the day? In terms of capability, do you think you're better than Mac Van Thong? Ridiculous. Exactly. And Liu Cam has already told everything. You were the one who wanted the divorce, and now you're acting like it's a deep and unchanging love? The class reunion was going smoothly until you and your green tea turned it into a market. It's best if you two leave. We don't welcome scum and cheap women here. The decisive words meant that no one stood up to defend Pho Trach Nguyen. It made sense. For years of university, I studied well, lived well, and had friends everywhere. When Pho Trach Nguyen was mentioned, everyone only remembered one thing. Giang Mat's husband, that was all. Hua Tu, once a half-baked goddess in a not-so-famous school, was now surrounded by a barrage of critical gazes. For someone used to being praised like her, this humiliation was indeed hard to swallow. She trembled with anger, unable to contain herself. Brother Trach Nguyen, before she could finish her sentence, Pho Trach Nguyen coldly interrupted. You go, I have something to discuss with my wife. The thing she least expected. He not only didn't defend her, but also brushed past her, coming to pull my hand, firmly insisting that I go with him to find a quiet place to talk. Pho Trach Nguyen, are you out of your mind? I'd never felt so humiliated. My ex-husband turned into a wanted criminal right at the class reunion. Pho Trach Nguyen was strangely strong. No matter how much I struggled, he held on tightly, tried to pull me away from there. Didn't you hear Giang Mat say, she doesn't want? Mac Van Thong finally couldn't hold back anymore. The usually calm and mature person rushed to pull Pho Trach Nguyen away, and the two of them started fighting. This time, it was no longer a mere clash. Both were using all their strength, attacking as if they wanted to take each other's lives. The situation escalated to the point that the hotel had to call the police. The police arrived quickly, along with a few men present. They spent quite some time separating the two. 2 hours later, Mac Van Thong and I left the station one after the other after completing the paperwork. Since this was a personal conflict that did not result in serious consequences, and both were first-time offenders, the police decided not to impose any administrative penalties. To prevent a recurrence, Pho Trach Nguyen was held for an additional half an hour after I left. Mac Van Thong looked at me with regret. It's my fault. I couldn't hold back. I'm sorry, Giang Mat. I shook my head. No, I should be thanking you instead. Honestly, I'm grateful that you stepped in to help. Seeing that I didn't seem angry, Mac Van Thong let out a sigh of relief. He drove me all the way home. Before leaving, he looked at me hesitantly and asked softly, am I still allowed to pursue you? Because you are my first love. He continued, you might think I just want to rekindle an old flame. But after today, I'm even more certain that my feelings for you are not just a fleeting crush. Giang Mat, you are even stronger and more wonderful than I imagined. I looked at him for a long time, then replied softly, I need time to think and sort everything out. Thank you for bringing me home. It felt a bit awkward to say, because even now, I still saw him as just a quality option for dating and entertainment. It seemed Mac Van Thong understood that too. He smiled and gently said, all right, I'll follow your lead. It's cold outside, so hurry inside. Good night, Giang Mat. Once home, I opened the fridge and tilted my head back to drink a glass of ice water in one go. The refreshing chill made me unconsciously smile with delight. My phone screen lit up, a friend request on WeChat. The information displayed was very simple. A male name, Lai Tin Viet. I thought for a while and vaguely recalled the face of the man named Lai Tin Viet. Oh my. I irritably called Liu Cam on video. As expected, she had given my WeChat to Lai Tin Viet. Moat, he's a hot young actor now. Not that kid from the children's drama club anymore. He took the initiative to ask, and I couldn't possibly not help he. I bet you're getting something out of him, right? To be honest, if you confess, you'll get leniency. If you deny it, you'll face strict consequences. You know what I mean. Okay, he just gave me a few hard-to-get concert tickets. If you don't want to talk, you can just wait a few days and quietly delete it. Before I could scold Liu Cam for betraying a friend for a few tickets, I received a message from Lai Tin Viet. Moat, are you free this weekend? I still owe you a few meals. Chapter 4, Unexpectedly. One day, we would divorce. When he was young, Lai Tin Viet's parents were quite neglectful and often forgot to prepare lunch for him. That kid had been mooching off my lunchbox for years. Now that he has become a famous person, he even took the initiative to remind me of old debts. A good person like me should give him a chance to redeem himself. Upon hearing that I agreed to have dinner with Lai Tin Viet this weekend, Liu Cam laughed and scolded me, calling me a real green tea. Mac Van Thong just got into a fight for you, and now you're going out with another young guy. I couldn't be bothered to retort, just raised my eyebrows and smiled. Before officially becoming Pho Trach Nguyen's girlfriend, I wasn't too tied down in matters of the heart. I liked making friends and wanted to be everyone's gentle little son. For Pho Trach Nguyen, I had suppressed that nature for many years. Now, I could finally live true to myself. Divorce, truly wonderful. Divorce, truly wonderful. The next day, after the fight, I received a call from my parents who were abroad. My father, an old-fashioned man with a stern face, began to scold me. Years ago, you refused to go abroad with us, insisting on sticking with Pho Trach Nguyen. Now, after 10 years of marriage, you want a divorce? Matt, do you think you're still a child? Haven't you caused enough chaos? I bowed my head and listened through the video call, obedient like a student being called out for misbehavior. Halfway through, I couldn't hold back my tears, and they streamed down my face. Seeing this, my mother hurriedly told my father to stop talking. She spoke softly. Pho Trach Nguyen has explained everything to us. He has admitted his mistakes. How about you two reconsider? I wiped my tears and choked out. Do you know what Pho Trach Nguyen was doing when I had my car accident? I pinched my thigh hard to force more tears, crying as I recounted. Of course, I didn't forget to color the story, that while I was in the hospital, on the brink of death, he was taking Hua Tutu abroad for fun. My parents fell silent. I pressed on. So, this isn't just me being impulsive. Mom, can you bear to let me continue living with a man like that? I was also planning to move in with you after the divorce. Hearing this, my father frowned, coughed lightly, remained silent for a long time, then sighed. All right, since you were little, your parents have never been able to control you. Let me book a plane ticket for you. I cheered up, yeah. Thank you, Dad. I want to fly business class. I cheered up, yeah. Thank you, Dad. I want to fly business class. Time flew by. Finally, the day before officially going to the Civil Affairs Bureau to sign the divorce papers arrived. I was drafting a message to schedule a time with Pho Trach Nguyen when the doorbell rang. Opening the door, I saw a noticeably thinner Pho Trach Nguyen holding a huge bouquet of sunflowers, my favorite flower, hesitating at my doorstep. Can I come in? Seeing that I didn't say anything and let him in, his face immediately brightened. Noticing that there was only a takeout box on the table with just a few bites left, he didn't ask anything, just headed straight to the kitchen. Moments later, a fragrant bowl of scallion oil noodles was placed in front of me. Knowing that I love good food, Pho Trach Nguyen had spent money learning to cook from a famous chef. I didn't even need to taste it to know the noodles he made would suit my taste. I plopped down on the sofa, propped my chin up, and lazily asked, "What's the meaning of this?" Pho Trach Nguyen was silent for a few seconds, forcing out a lackluster smile, and simply said, "You're such a picky eater. You must be feeling uncomfortable eating takeout these past few days, right? Matt, just eat the noodles first, then we can talk." He understood me very well. I would never waste food, let alone dislike something delicious. While I was eating the noodles, Pho Trach Nguyen turned on the TV, sat down in the single chair opposite me, and started watching an English Premier League match. The atmosphere between us felt just like old times, natural and normal. For a few brief minutes, everything seemed unchanged, until I slurped the last bit of broth. 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, I'll have you pick me up to go through the divorce procedures. Upon hearing this, Pho Trach Nguyen muted the TV step by step, his voice filled with urgency. "I don't want a divorce, Giang Mat. I know I was wrong. Please give me a chance, okay? I realize I've always loved you." I looked at him, unable to help but laugh. "Many people love me. Pho Trach Nguyen, stop acting like a child. Face reality, it's better for both of us." I knew very well that he came today to make peace. Just as he understood, my starting to date another man meant something significant. Logic is logic, and feelings are feelings. Pho Trach Nguyen had spent a week alone in a hotel thinking. But no matter how much he thought, he couldn't understand how I could be so cold, silently aborting our daughter. Then, less than a week later, I was dating Mac Van Thong. I even let another man hold my waist in front of everyone at a class reunion. "Giang Mat, did you ever love me? Did you marry me just because you were used to having me around?" Seeing that I didn't respond, Pho Trach Nguyen suddenly laughed bitterly, burying his face in his trembling hands. "I really don't understand. Just 1 month. You could forget all the good things I've done for you over 10 years, leaving me with no dignity at all. Giang Mat, how did you become like this? Was those 10 years just a joke to you?" "No, those 10 years were not a joke. I have never regretted marrying you." I stepped closer, gently squatting in front of him, looking up with a hint of mockery in my eyes, softly pulling his hands away from his tear-streaked face. Looking straight into his eyes, I smiled sweetly. "Pho Trach Nguyen, does what I say make you feel any better? Don't cry anymore. It's just a divorce. It's not a big deal. You still have your career, loving parents. Oh, and there's also the woman out there who is always waiting for you. Actually, you're quite capable." My words were as soft as silk, yet pierced like a dagger to the heart. Knowing that I said this just to make it easier for him to sign the divorce papers, Pho Trach Nguyen was stunned, frozen in silence. "Giang Mat, do you hate me that much? Don't talk nonsense. You're not even worthy of my hatred. No longer love, nor hate." To me, Pho Trach Nguyen was just a fleeting cloud. His phone rang, the screen displaying 2 characters, Tuesday. I stood up to give him space, but unexpectedly, he grabbed my hand and then knelt down on the floor. He answered the call. On the other end was Hua Tutu's incessant crying. She begged him to come to school, saying that if he didn't, she would jump from the highest floor of the lecture hall. Faced with that threat, Pho Trach Nguyen calmly replied, "I've gone back to my wife. If you want to die, that's your business." After saying that, he hung up, wrapping his arms tightly around my waist from behind. Not long after, I felt my shirt soaked with his hot tears. "Giang Mat, I've loved you since we were young. I've loved you for 20 years. You will never understand how much it hurts me to know that our daughter is no longer here." Holding 2 faded marriage certificates, even the staff sincerely advised us not to rush into divorce. Holding 2 faded marriage certificates, even the staff sincerely advised us not to rush into divorce. You can't just say, "I don't need you," and truly throw me away like that. I turned around and kicked him, causing him to fall to the floor. I stepped on his chest, my toes twisting around, smiling as if I were not. I gently pronounced the death sentence. My brother has more than just you. If you're not strong enough, don't blame anyone. The next day, Pho Trach Nguyen didn't show up at the Civil Affairs Bureau. That night, he went out drinking to drown his sorrows, then got into a fight with some thugs at a bar, and was injured, needing to be hospitalized. His mother personally came to my house, pleading for me to visit him in the hospital. He was currently in the intensive care unit, completely devoid of the will to live. I didn't go. A week later, during a gathering with my sisters and Liu Cam, she told me that Pho Trach Nguyen had become a vegetable. Seeing that I didn't seem sad or distressed, she happily continued to recount the aftermath of Hua Tutu's suicide threat. That little third party wouldn't let the firefighters help, and as a result, she slipped and fell from the rooftop. Fortunately, the fall hit the stair railing, so I didn't die, but from now on, I can only sit in a wheelchair. Oh, that's terrible. Seeing me scrolling through my phone with a nonchalant reaction, showing no concern for anyone's life or death, Liu Cam curiously leaned over to look at the screen and clicked her tongue a few times. TSK. Lai Tin Viet. This quiet name turns out to be a direct attack, huh? So, have you agreed to be his girlfriend? Nonsense. My husband is still in the hospital. I'm busy fighting for my share of the assets after the divorce. Where would I find time for romance? Ha ha. You're really sharp-tongued, Mat. Your husband is about to kick the bucket, and you still want to squeeze out every last penny. Receiving praise from my best friend for being wicked yet cool, I put my phone down and gently savored a sip of my chestnut-flavored Starbucks. Looking up, I squinted at the sky. The weather is really nice today. The sky was clear without a single cloud. Although there might be clouds sometimes, they could never obscure the sunlight that always shines above. Becoming the sun of your own life. Even if the heart has been hurt, there will come a day when it heals.